Hello and welcome back to another episode of Rebooking to Mastery, a book where podcast where I dissect books and other media in order to expand and build upon the knowledge presented in the books and present some knowledge that I've accumulated throughout the years. The current book I'm analyzing are the 32 Strategies of War, a book by Robert Greene where he discusses strategies that are important and practical for living life and staying very strategic and very, very on top of whatever we do in our life. And so, the first strategy under the first category is self-directed warfare. And the first strategy is declaring war on your enemies, the polarity strategy. And if you remember from our last two episodes, I talked more about how you need to focus on an enemy, a North Star, in order to guide your actions and guide your goals and your desires and what you want to accomplish, instead of relying on something intangible and looking at something intangible or unseeable or like unimaginable as kind of a goal. One analogy you can use to exemplify this metaphor is going to the gym. If you find yourself going to the gym just to build muscle, if you find yourself going to the gym just to burn fat, if you find yourself going to the gym just to tone up, one thing you can notice that is a common theme between these three metaphors or analogies is that they are very intangible. They are very difficult to illustrate or foresee. So one thing you want to focus on is, I weigh this many pounds, or my waist circumference or arm circumference is this many inches or centimeters. And throughout these next few weeks, I want to ensure that my muscle mass increases by this percentage or this number. If you look at the difference between the two, one is very intangible and one is very tangible. And the purpose of creating an enemy or finding something to fight against, a situation or a person or a setup, is to create this tangibility to understand and view the world in a more not positive, but in a more measured light. And so, one thing I also mentioned in the last episode is the fact that this world is more competitive than ever before, mostly in subtle forms. In the forms that people will jibe or like shoot little jabs at you that are meant to be underhand compliments. Not in a way similar to that of ancient times where you would make an overt gesture against them, someone would slap you with a glove and that would indicate a duel would happen. The competitive nature of this world, in this globalized world, is far more subtle and far more covert. Because judgment is harsh and swift if any overt moves or very on top, over the head moves are taken. And so, looking at motives themselves of people, one thing that you should do about people is that turn a blind eye toward what people do. Do not forget and do not reveal the fact that you understand that they are being manipulative, they are trying to win you over or trying to play their own game, but rather just go along until they reveal more of their hand. Go along until they reveal a fact that endangers themselves, not necessarily endangers themselves, but like puts them in a position where you have leverage. Personalize the fight. Do not try to have the sense of detachment or the sense of I don't really care about this fight, because in truth you do. People who assert that they don't care about something, more often than not, those who vehemently express that are the people who care the most about certain facts. So don't try to tell yourself that you don't really care, because if it's a thought that has emotion or has belief and it causes you emotional distress, you care about it. So trying to repress it is not going to make you get anywhere. And really don't try to look at enemies in a negative light. Enemies, they motivate you. They give you a standard of judgment. And they give you a way to look at yourself in perspective. For instance, a lot of misogynistic people on the internet, people like Andrew Tate, give us a way to see ourselves in a better light. Because it gives us a method or a perspective of how we should be as individuals. Because you look at an enemy like Andrew Tate, and we realize that this person is not the best kind of person in the world, and how we should be better in comparison to him. Remember, your goal in life is victory. I think that one thing that a lot of us have a deluded sense of is that life is fair. Life is balanced. And I don't believe that. I believe that life is inherently unfair. a lot of us get the wrong side of the coin in a lot of cases, and we feel very, very judged and very, very oppressed. And so it's important to understand that victory is indeed your goal. That doesn't mean go underhand and do whatever it takes in terms of unethical, immoral, or illegal things, but rather understand that your perspective should be with victory as the forehead, not fairness. And enemies, they also give you options. They also force a sense of realism or humility upon you, especially when they win over you or you fail against them. And remember, there will always be people more aggressive than you. You'll want to compromise, you'll want to step down, you will want to be the better person in quotes. But with someone who is more aggressive, just harden yourself and keep going. You must declare war upon yourself and upon the others around you, so that you end up in a better place overall. And if you count on safety without any sense of danger, you won't be wary for any enemies that cross your path. If you look for the best case scenario, you're not going to be prepared for the worst case scenario. And the last part of this strategy is the reversal. Remember, you want clarity, not paranoia. This doesn't mean looking behind your back every single second you walk across the street, but rather understanding that there could be someone behind you and ensuring that you are wary and aware of the possibility. Keep an eye out to stay prudent and keep it to yourself. But do not polarize people and do not be so paranoid that you lose track of the goal you actually seek to achieve. And do not polarize people to the sake of having the inability to walk back your words. Make sure you stay very level-headed and understand that certain ideas you have are going to turn off or push away certain people. And that's perfectly acceptable because that is true authenticity. That is what you truly want in your life, to find the people that you genuinely care about and you genuinely want to spend time with. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of 30 Strategies of War on Rebooking to Mastery. And if you'd like to hear more content, drop me a follow on @Rebooking to Mastery on TikTok and Instagram. And if you want to watch my videos, they're on YouTube @Rebooking to Mastery. Thank you so much, and see you guys next time.